Mayor Ras J. Baraka. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of season 2 of Ras in 60. This will be another great episode, and our theme for this episode is acknowledging our past in order to prepare for our future. Our first guest today is Newark City of Newark's historian, Junius Williams. And on the second half, we are talking to Robert Kool Bell from the iconic group Kool and the Gang. So that's going to be an incredible show coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the community news and Newark news as we always do. So, COVID-19, you want to update folks on where some updates on the COVID-19 pandemic and how, they can get tested for free here in Newark?
All testing and vaccines in the city have been free from the very beginning. We're getting ready to pass out some masks, a KN95 and N95 masks to some of the senior sites. Mm-hmm. Good news is they're going to be free at Walgreens and some other locations in New Jersey in the next coming weeks. So be on the look out for that. People can go get, KN95 mask or N95 mask from their local Walgreens. Our numbers are starting to go down, thank God.
Good. Yeah. Because there was a huge spike during this holiday season.
Huge.
Yeah.
Incredible. In fact, we had numbers higher than when we first started with COVID. Mm-hmm. So the numbers dropped dramatically.
Right.
We want to continue to go in that direction.
And also, I know that COVIDtest.gov, which is a website that was created by the White House, you can sign up for free tests, right? At-home tests?
Yes, you could get
the rapid test, right?
You get three or four rapid tests will come to your house, which is good. I mean, use those. I mean, it'll help you gauge whether you are infectious more than anything else.
Right. And people can stay up to date on COVID and other community news by just staying up to date on your Facebook Lives every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
That's right. And we have a data dashboard. You can go to NewarkCovid19.com. You can check out the data dashboard, and you can see what's going on, all COVID-related stuff. Right.
And one of the biggest updates also in the city is there was an executive order that mandated mask wearing and also vaccination for indoor establishments in the city. And if people want more details on that, they can go to NewarkNJ.gov as well, right?
Yep.
NewarkNJ.gov
is our website. Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So I know State of the City is coming up. Why is it important that we have a second State of the City?
Because there's so much stuff going on. COVID has beat us up for 3 years now, and so there's so much that we need to cover that we weren't able to. Most of the State of the City, we talked a lot about COVID, mm-hmm. and our recovery and what's going on. And we want people to know there's a myriad of things still happening in the city of Newark and that you should be aware of and know about outside of just COVID.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And water lead service line replacement program is coming to an end very soon, right?
By the grace of God, it's coming to an end, and thank God for that. Interesting, the country now has got billions of dollars that they're going to put out there for the replacement of lead service lines all over the country.
Right.
They just didn't decide to do that when we were struggling.
Right. but you figure it out. You figured it out. Your administration definitely figured it out.
Yeah.
Was able to figure out that issue before it got any worse than what it was.
Yeah, and then we were very instrumental in pushing this thing, on the national side. So there are a lot of people that are going to get their lead service lines fixed because of the struggles that we went through.
Right.
They need to just go holler at Kareem so he can show them how to actually do it.
That's true. Newark is like a model for that right now.
Yeah.
And so I know there's a documentary coming out, Why Is We Americans? Can you just discuss a little bit about that and explain this documentary? Because this involves your family, is correct?
Yeah, private, independent folks did a documentary on my family in the city. I think it's already had a premiere, and I think it's going to be actually released in February. So you could probably be able to see it definitely online and in different places and movies that, I guess, movie houses that show films and documentaries as well. So.
Right. All right. Right, and it's talking about your family's history and everything, involvement in the city of Newark.
The family's history and stuff that we went, internal stuff and, stuff that's related to the city and politics and activism and all of that, just the growth and the changes in our family. Yeah.
I definitely want to check that out. And I think people who want to learn more about you and your family's history in Newark definitely should.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to introduce the first guest on to the show?
Sure. Our first guest is Mr. Junius Williams, who is a very important person in our city, our city historian now, that's for sure. We're glad to have him with us. I'll let him talk more about who he is, but his history in this city goes all the way back before the Newark Rebellion. And, he actually has a book that he's written that I'm going to let him talk about as well. So, Junius Williams, we're glad to have him.
All right, Mr. Junius Williams, welcome to Ras 60. How are you?
I'm happy to be here with you and the mayor.
And we're happy to have you.
Yeah.
Definitely happy to have you.
Absolutely. I want to tell the listeners a little bit about what you do and who you are now for folks who don't know who you are.
Well, my title is City Historian, thanks to your appointment. And I've been enjoying that. I've been doing some videos and some websites, and my most recent venture is a podcast. And as a matter of fact, you were on my podcast. You were the last person on the end of my first series. It's called Everything's Political, and we're going fine now. With this season, we're talking about organizing. How do you become a better organizer? So I'm not saying that we of the older generation can dictate to the young, but we have some ideas, and we do hear from young people who have ideas from around the country about how they're in the street organizing or wherever.
That's all right. So, Black History Month is coming up, man. Just want to ask you to tell everybody, being a city's historian, why it's important to have a study of Black history.
If you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you are. And if you don't know where you are, you can't possibly know where you're going. So history is like the base in a group of singers and musicians. It's the ground. It's where you have to start. It's the underpinning of all that we do. And whether we know it or not, history is very much alive. So you got to know what it is. You got to know the ground that you're standing on. That's why I love to study it. That's one of the chief ingredients of my evolution, my revolution from the 1960s is when I learned about history, not just African history, not just African American history, but history, period. Just
in your life, you've accomplished so much, and I was just telling people about the book that you have. I want to say a little bit about that, but also, just being able to speak at the United Nations, being a fellow at the Center of Economic Research and Policy in D.C., 100 Most Influential Blacks in America, all of the kind of stuff that you've been able to do nationally here in the city of Newark as well, and your writing. Want to talk a little bit about that, and how does it make you feel?
Each time I write something, I feel like I've accomplished another goal. My book, Unfinished Agenda, is still selling. It's about three things. It's a memoir, but the subtitle is very important. It's about Black power, politics in the era of Black power. And so I'm a political person, small p. And each time you write, when you do something like a book, wow, that makes you feel really good. It took me a long time to write that book, but because you keep rewriting, and then you have to take the time to find a publisher. I didn't want to self-publish. I might do the next one, I might self-publish because I've got some kind of reputation, but Unfinished Agenda is still out there. And that was about me, my growing up. Number two, it's about Newark. It's a history of Newark. from my perspective. And number three, it teaches people how to organize. So all of those three things I accomplished. So I had a glass of champagne after that.
So your book is about your life, and can you give us some examples of, like, I'm sure in your life you've done a lot, you've met a lot of people. Can you give us some examples of some of the, I guess, like, most memorable people you've met throughout your life that have impacted you?
So many people. So many people.
Any, like, memorable historical figures that you can think of that you may have, you know?
Well, when I came to Newark because of a man named Tom Hayden. I was on my way back to Alabama to be with SNCC in the Civil Rights Movement. And he said, the Civil Rights Movement, as you know it, is over. We got the 1964 bill passed, which gave us the right to sit where we wanted to do public accommodations, and we've also got the right to vote. I had gone to Alabama to fight for the right to vote. I had gone to be with SNCC. I went to jail, went to state prison. So I was going back. But he said, that phase is over. You need to come north where the complications are much greater. You got the whole mixture of class and race. He was here working in Newark with a group called NCUP. And eventually, while I was here, I don't think I was still with NCUP at that time, I met the mayor's father, another historical figure, Mayor Baraka. I first saw him, I can't think of the name of that street, I think it was Shipman Street. Shipman stays in my mind. Of course, he was a distant figure. I said, wow, that's Mayor Baraka. I had seen his play on the off-Broadway at that time, The Slave, the Toilet. And he had just come back to Newark. So eventually we started working together. I was one of the first people he invited to become a part of his idea of bringing folks together called the United Brothers. I was in that position because of the fight we had, my role I was playing as one of the leaders in the medical school fight to keep the medical school from taking all that land, and we won, we got housing, we got jobs, and so he invited me with other black leaders to sit down to plan the next step, which was to bring in the first black mayor, Ken Gibson, and we worked together on that front for many years.
Okay, so you played a role. I did see that you were the campaign manager for Kenneth Gibson, right? So you helped.
I was his first campaign manager. Yes, that came out of the United Brothers. We sponsored him, we promoted him, we made him. If it had not been for United Brothers, he and later on, which became Committee for Unified Newark, it would not have happened. A lot of people take credit for the first black mayor, but C-Fund, United Brothers, it was necessary. It wasn't sufficient to do all that had to be done because there were some traditional politicians and some folks we had to bring in. But that was the beginning of the change of the political dynamic in Newark when black people got elected to high office.
Okay.
So what do you think is the difference between the time period of right before when Ken Gibson was elected and he got elected, and then all of the stuff you see going on now? Any key points that you'd like to point out?
People were more organized. People were more organized back in the day. I read somewhere there were 102 education organizations in Newark at one point. Not just one or two, but 102. That doesn't mean they were all effective, but they were out there and they were organized. You don't have that level of organization. What we were able to do during that time is to bring people together for that one moment to make history of electing the first black mayor. That's because we put all of our eggs in that basket. I don't think we want to do that again. but that's what people wanted at that time. It was seen universally as that's the step forward. So as a result of that, I think the percentage was 74% of the people eligible to vote in Newark came out to vote in that first election to elect Ken Gibson. 74%. Figure never heard of before, and certainly not since. Now that includes all the people, not just the ones for Gibson, but the ones against Gibson as well. But 74% is a result of that high consciousness and that high level of organization amongst all people.
Right.
Do you think, like now in 2022, people of color are still as aware, or just they can organize in that way to make such a big change? Like, do you think that people still are, the young people today are still that concerned with seeing certain changes happen in that way where people can come together and really come and accomplish that, like that one goal? Do you think that there's distractions to people that maybe young folks don't see that importance, or do you think that it's still there in the young folks today?
Well, that's a lot in there. The answer to your first part is I don't see the same level of participation in civic affairs now as I did then. We still have a problem getting young people to want to vote. That is still a problem, but I would say if anybody can do it, he can do it. I remember after George Floyd got killed, there was a big rally downtown here, and there were people who just wanted to throw bricks and go out and destroy the city, as had happened in so many other places, because people were mad. But it was the people in the group who were at the rally who told this minority of folks, don't do that. We don't need to do that here. And I remember some of the people said, because we have a different relationship with the police. We got a mayor who even fostered a civilian police board. That had never happened before. We came out of the convention to elect Gibson, and that was one of the big pieces in our platform. We want to have a civilian police review board. After he got elected, he said, I'm the police board. And of course, it didn't happen again until Mayor Baraka put it up. Now it's tied up in court, or maybe not even. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know the status of that, but people had faith because he put that forward.
That's right.
So I just have, I guess, a couple more. Just want to talk about the community. You mentioned a little bit about the community museum and what you think about that, and why is it even important to have that, a museum like that in Newark?
I think that was another one of your good ideas. It's going to be a museum not based on artifacts and paintings and sculpture and things like that. We already have a good art museum, one of the best art museums in the country is right here in Newark. But this is going to be a museum based on memories. This is going to be a museum based on stories, how people survived and how people thrived in the city of Newark, despite all the things that have happened that have bound them to different forms of life than maybe they anticipated. So I think that's why that's so important. And you tied that in with the community group that is solving the problem of violence. So I think that's a good combination. Now the question that you're wrestling with is how you gonna fit all of that in one building.
Yeah.
So that's another story.
And why is it important for young people to go visit when the museum does open? Because I feel like, I don't know, today kids aren't as knowledgeable of the Black history. That I know when I was taught, in the elementary school, we went to competitions for Black history. I had teachers who were so passionate about it, and I feel like my daughter is not there as much, So why is it important for kids to just know that history and to visit that museum when it's done? Like, why is that important for them?
It's important for the same reason I talked earlier about the need for history. This is going to be Newark history, and we're going to have projects coming from the museum that are going into the schools. We're going to have people coming in to see different kinds of exhibits. You're going to have guests. You're going to have folks, presumably like me, coming in telling our story, just as I'm telling it here, about how we got over, and give people some courage and give people some hope that things can change. That's one of the things that history can do. You can see lessons in living history when you talk to people who have survived and have some answers that they don't ordinarily get. That ought to be happening more in schools.
Yeah. And I think it'll also give kids a sense of pride too, to know
A sense of pride.
to know, like,
sense of
you know,
pride.
what was accomplished. You know?
Absolutely. Just music, that's one of my favorite subjects. I mean, Newark is Music City, and a lot of people just don't know about that. I mean, we know that there were textiles and we had great manufacturing. Maybe some people don't know that, but that's the big thing that's supported by the downtown folks. And it's true, Newark was a great business environment for a long time, and it's coming back. But people don't know about the Sarah Barnes and how Duke Ellington came through here, and how Willie the Lion Smith used to play down there where WBGO radio station is now. And the thing about I forget the name of it, what was your father's project that he talked about all the time, the music project? I can't think of the name right now, old time memory. But anyway, there were lots of musicians and music coming out of here. I want to do a 3-part documentary on that music. It's going to be jazz, gospel, rhythm and blues. Not necessarily in that order, because the church was a great foundation for music. Not as much now, because not as many people go to church, but the church produced such people as Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick. That's where all that music came from. Then you had rhythm and blues in the clubs. When I got to Newark, you could go to these nightclubs and you could find all kinds of people in there playing, even if they were just in there. They were just in there just having a drink or something. And then somebody would say, well, come on up and sing. That kind of thing. And of course, jazz. I heard Dizzy Gillespie's at a club here in Newark, Rossar and Roland Kirk. I could call the roll. But that's the kind of thing I want to point out. I want to weave that into a story and tie that into the museum. 3 parts. So watch out. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to let us know before we shut this down, brother? Anything you want to tell the audience, or anything you want to talk about?
I want to talk about my podcast.
Yes, sir.
You were nice enough to come on and send me off, which was good. That was the last one of my first go-round, and you talked about yourself just like you asked me to talk about myself. But it's called Everything's Political, and you can find that at Everything's Political, one word, no apostrophe, .fireside, one word, .f as in Frank, M as in Mary. We got a nice little project going on right now. The episode 4 is up, and I call that "Am I Black Enough, Baby?" and it's an examination of Black Power then, and I got Sam Anderson, a friend of mine from New York, talk about it back in the 60s and the 70s, how important that was to us. And then I have some young people coming on, including my son, Che Williams, who talks about the role of race in organizing then, along with Darnell Moore from South Jersey, who talks about the aspect of integrating what they call intersectionality now, the roles of gays and women as well as Black interests into one movement. So it's very interesting. I think you can find it. You can find that on all the usual stations, Spotify, etc.
All right.
Good stuff. Thanks for coming on,
Thank
man. We
you.
appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank
you, my brother.
That's for sure.
You got a lot to
And my
think
sister.
about.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right, all right.
All
So
right.
our second guest is Robert Kool Bell. Glad to have him on the show with us. One of the founding members of Kool and the Gang. Some of these young people don't know what that is, but brother, you know I do. You know, get down on it. You know, I know all
Well,
that.
tell him it's a good game.
That's right. And it's a good music time, man. There's a lot of samples, though. People have sampled a lot of that stuff, that's for sure.
A lot of hits. I know that.
Yeah, a lot of hits, you know. So we just excited to have you on the show, you know, because not only I'm a fan of Kool and the Gang, I believe your music has stood the test of time, man. You know, these are classics. They're gonna reside in our minds and hearts for eternity, man. And I appreciate it. I think the group was founded in Jersey City.
Yeah, we started in Jersey City back in 1964.
Oh wow.
When I was born in Youngstown, Ohio, I came to Jersey in 1960, Jersey City, and that's when the band started.
Did you have some time in Newark too, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I live up on Chancellor Avenue in Newark for several years. Gotta think about it.
In the South.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah. You know, Kool and Gang is one of the most sampled R&B groups, man, of all time. How does it feel to have the music transcend like that to so many young folks?
Well, it feels great. You know, our good brother James Brown said that he's the #1 most sampled, Kool Gang #2.
Yeah.
But it feels great. I mean, for people to accept your music and know the music that they're sampling.
Yeah.
You know, if you do Summer Madness with Summertime with Will Smith, you think it was Will Smith.
That's right.
Or Diddy with Mace, you think he did Hollywood Swing. It goes on and on.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, Hollywood Swinging. That's for sure. I remember those songs growing up, man. You know, a lot. What's your favorite song that you guys did?
That's a hard one, man.
I know.
I like to start off with Ladies' Night is one of them because before my wife passed, we used to hang out in New York, and we noticed that Studio 54
Studio 54.
and Regimes, it was always a ladies' night.
Yeah.
So when J.T. Taylor joined the band in 1978 and came up with our first record, I came back and said, I got a great idea for a song. They said, what? Ladies' Night. I said, wow, man, 'cause you got one of those everywhere. So I have to say Ladies' Night, but then again, I have to say Summer Madness too. It's hard. There's so many of them.
Yeah. So many hits that I could think of, that's for sure.
So Ladies Night, is that the same song that was sampled by with Missy Elliott and okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think it's being redone again, right? Is it by a new artist? I feel like I heard it. Well, they were trying. Well, it was like an idea that was put out there.
Yeah, from a new artist. There's something I just saw. They sent us something on Netflix called Y'all Something, and they want to use Ladies' Night.
Oh, okay.
To get the clearance for this
Okay, yeah.
TV series on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling, man. I mean, you know, I'm sure you knew some of these did know some of these songs were going to be hits like that.
Yeah, I mean, for so many years. I mean, you're talking about over 50 years.
That's right.
Even longer than that. But, you know, we started off as the Jazziacs. So jazz was our first love. And then we changed the name to the Soul Town Band. And we were backing up various groups in Jersey City, 10 of them, because they wanted to be like Motown. And they called themselves the Soul Town Review, the Motown Review.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then it went to Kool and the Flames. and the guy, he said, hey, man, our manager, he said, can't use Flames. We said, why? Because you got James Brown and the Famous Flames.
Yeah.
We don't want to have no problem with the Godfather. So, okay. All right, so we'll change it to Kool and the Gang.
Kool and the Gang.
And that's what it's been for so many years.
So you have upcoming performances in Vegas and Atlantic City, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little about that?
Well, we'll be in Vegas next week. It's at the Westgate, and we're hoping to get a residency there. You know, it's like a trial run, but a lot of people are going to be in Vegas next week.
Yeah.
And then Atlantic City is on the 19th. We're doing the Ocean Resort.
Right.
And I have a champagne that came out with called Le Cool Champagne.
Okay.
So we're doing a Le Cool of the Gang Ocean Resort weekend
Wow,
of the 19th.
that's nice, brother.
Yeah.
The all of the crew is still together, and or
Well, we only got 2 founding members left, myself
yeah.
and George Brown.
Okay,
I
yeah,
lost my brother over a year ago,
Yeah.
DT,
yeah,
over about 4 months ago. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's good to see that you guys are still performing and out here doing it. You know, it's a lot of people would have given it up a long time ago, brother, and you look good too, by the way. So that's all right.
Right. Can you talk a little about the new album you have out, the latest album?
Yes, the new album is called Perfect Union. And our first single came out called Pursuit of Happiness. My brother wrote that single before he passed, and then most of the album. When Biden was accepted to run for presidency, they played Celebration. And in his speech, he spoke about the pursuit of happiness. He also spoke about the perfect union. And when he won, of course, they played Celebration. So my brother has some insight on that. And we came up with the album called Perfect Union and Pursuit of Happiness. And wouldn't it be great if we can get a perfect union?
That's right.
Down there in Washington, D.C.? I
Why
think
not?
that'd be
It would be
political.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody running in there, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Yeah. Just any advice, man, you would share with our listeners who are trying to, you know, get into this business?
Work hard at it and be serious about what you're doing. Try to learn as much about the music business part of it all. You know, publishing, writing, sampling, licensees, and of course, pay your taxes.
I know that's right. That's how they get us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But and just be serious about what they're doing. I want to mention one other thing that I'm working on. I've been in and out of Africa a lot over the last 20 years, and I might become a music ambassador for the AU, African Union.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're working on that now. I have a project that I'm doing in Zimbabwe with honoring Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're working on that project too.
That's huge, man.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that's all right. So you are trying to develop artists over in Africa.
Yeah, that also, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there's been a lot of artists in and out of Africa,
Right, yeah.
but they come and then they go. You know, we plan to stay there. Although COVID had hit pretty hard in Africa, you know,
Yeah,
they give us a little rough time over there, but, you know, only the strong survive, and we're going to stand up and pursue the happiness for our people.
Well,
around
no,
the
that's
world.
right. That's all right, brother. That's all right. There's a lot of people who are starting to, you know, expatriate or repatriate back to Africa, you know, and, you know, starting to get a lot of, you know, play in African American community. That's for sure.
Well, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And so you're in the southern part of Africa.
Yeah, we're doing, actually, I'm in 3 parts. I started off in the Ivory Coast.
Okay.
I had a project over there. But I'm dealing with now South Africa and Zimbabwe, the southern part of Africa, yeah.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So you're celebrating 50 years in a hit-making business. How does an artist, sustain so much, you know, longevity in the music business? Because your group has come out with so many hits over the years. So how were you able to accomplish that and just, I guess, continue to have that love for the music industry and your art?
It's definitely a blessing because that's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
You know, when you got your hills and your valleys, you hit for a minute and then you get a slow period. And then people say, well, are you still in the business? What are you doing now?
Yeah.
And, you know, it seems like every decade we were being counted out. Every 10 years. What are you going to do now? So we're going to keep moving.
That's it.
And that's where we're at today, you know. So you gotta,
But
I thank
you
God
also
for
have
the
to have a
blessing.
few hits to have some longevity too.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of hits. I feel like at this point, with all these hits, you don't even need to make new music. Just keep playing, the music you have. You could continue to do that.
Yeah, we've been told that. I think this is because of all due respect to my brother. This is probably might be our last album, but I never say never. But Perfect Union, when you guys get a chance to listen to it and see,
definitely gonna listen to
where we'll be coming from with Perfect Union.
So it's out now. People can get it now.
Yeah, on all formats.
Okay. Spotify, Tidal.
Apple Music, all of that.
All of them. Yeah.
Yep. Under Kool in the Gang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool with a K.
Yeah,
And the
but under KTFA Entertainment, that's our label.
Okay.
That stands for Keep the Funk Alive.
All right.
We KTFA.
KTFA, Keep the Funk Alive. I like that.
Oh yeah.
I got to talk to John Schreiber. We need to get you all that NJ Pack since you had
Yeah, I just thought about that.
Atlantic City and all that. You need to perform at the
Oh no, we got to come back down there. The last one of the shows I remember doing there was with the Newark Philharmonic Orchestra,
Oh yeah, okay.
and I'd like to
Wow.
come back and do a classic evening with Kool again with the Newark Philharmonic Orchestra again.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to talk that up.
Oh, what
Yeah.
about the summer series that they do at NJ Pack? That'd be nice.
Yeah, outside the summer series, outside on the sound stage.
Okay.
That would also be good too. Yeah.
All
yeah,
right,
you know,
great.
I'm gonna have to push John a little bit on that.
Okay.
Good stuff, man. Anything you want to share with folks that you haven't shared already?
Well, I mentioned about the champagne and what we're doing in Africa. The other project that we're doing is headed up by my son, who you know, Hakeem Muhammad, the Cool Kids Foundation.
Right.
My wife started that before she passed. And we're having our third annual golf outing. We do golf outings.
Oh wow.
Yeah, with O.J. Anderson and some of the Giants. And so that's the next project that we'll be doing. And that's going to be in July. The
Okay.
Cool Kids Foundation.
How can people find out more about the Cool Kids Foundation?
Well, it's, you can go up to coolkidsfoundation.com. Another thing that when my wife came up with this about music in the schools, there was no more music in the schools. And so I came up with a project called It's Cool to Stay in School. And we did 48 cities with Coca-Cola. And then this one group came up to us and said, well, I'm doing good in school, but we'd like to sing a song for you. He said, okay. And they did an a cappella song. And that group ended up being Color Me Bad
Oh wow.
from the school project. So we
Yeah.
want to try to keep pushing that 'cause education is important.
That's all right, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have anything else?
I don't have anything else. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I just want to thank my fans
Yeah.
for supporting us for so many years. And I got, we're starting to work again a little bit, and I got a little saying from Hollywood swinging. Hey, 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 what you got to say?
Hey.
COVID, stay away. Because we want to play. We want to see happy faces around the world again.
That's right.
And that's it.
Good stuff. You're gonna make me go back and listen to all this stuff in my car, man.
I was
We're going to
looking.
make sure you get the album, though.
Yeah, I'm on it immediately.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you. Tell your
Thank
sons
you.
I said hello as
Okay,
well.
will do.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what thank you.
You're welcome.
So I want to thank all our guests who came on today. Junius Williams and the good brother from Kool and the Gang was with us as well. Robert Kool Bell. Thank you guys for coming on the show, and thank all of the folks for listening as well. You can follow our City of Newark's Facebook page at facebook.com/City of Newark, on Twitter, and our handle is at City of Newark NJ, or you can follow Instagram account of City of Newark NJ. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ras J Baraka, or Instagram at Ras J Baraka, and you can follow my Facebook page at facebook.com/Ras J Baraka. Thanks again for listening, and please share this episode with your social circle. And remember, we will release new episodes each first Tuesday. I want to let everyone know we will be expanding our listener reach soon. We will be back on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other additional platforms very, very soon. And remember to use the hashtag #RazN60 if you'd like to ask me questions or make a comment about what you've heard on the show. Post your question to social media using the hashtag RazN60. A man is either free or he is not. There cannot be an apprenticeship for freedom. Amiri Baraka. God bless y'all.